I mean, I haven't had a bean and cheese burrito from Taco Bell in a long time, but I have the memory of one, you know?
Yeah.
And that's, first of all, that's mostly beans, little bit of cheese, and then it already had, and maybe still has, some like taco sauce in it. That
a
would
lot
have
of times I
been...
don't have taco sauce.
What's that?
You have to put it in on your own. Taco sauce.
It doesn't have any?
I mean, as far as I know, I don't know. My wife gets burritos, and I don't.
I haven't even been to Taco Bell in a really long time. Not because I'm like a hater.
I've been way too frequently, like since moving to the Midwest and having children.
I like Taco Bell.
Find myself there like way more than I should be going.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm saying that would have been better than that was part of what made me want to say what I said is like if it had been a bean and cheese burrito, but I was like, man, this is a good bean and cheese burrito, I would not have been motivated to say that because I'm like, okay, it didn't have egg. All right. But it was delicious.
Not a big deal.
This was not at all delicious. And my wife and I both got one. And we ended up... And see, I didn't want to make this any longer.
And it was probably like $7.
It was $6. But yeah, with tip, it was $7. Yeah, you're actually exactly right. And I didn't want to go into any more detail about it because I didn't want to like turn it into some long thing. But it had so much cheese in it. And the cheese was cold, of course, because they're just putting... They just literally got a tortilla... Put cold cheese in there and then a couple spoonfuls of beans and wrapped it up. Like if they had at least taken the tortilla and put it on the grill and then put the cheese on there so that the tortilla could get hot and the cheese got a little bit melty and then stick the beans on there, it would have been way better. But like I bit into it and it was like room temperature. And so then I'm like, okay, let's just not eat this right now. And so we brought the burritos home and then like I microwaved them and then I made... some scrambled eggs. And I'm like, okay, we're going to make like burrito breakfast bowls out of this. But when I microwaved them, there was so much cheese that the cheese just started melting out of, you know, every orifice of the burrito, to bring back your favorite word. And that's, like I said, there was hardly any beans. I ended up just chucking it because I'm like, I still hadn't recorded the weekend rental yet, you know, obviously. And I'm like, I can't record a show with like a gigantic lump of cheese. Like that lump is going to just be slowly moving between, you know, my mouth and the business end of my intestinal tract over the course of the day. You know, it's too much cheese, and I love cheese. Anyway,
it's just really funny to me that it took up like such a huge like mind share of your day and effort, like even beyond just getting it and eating it.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, just like, you know, getting a typical breakfast burrito and eating it.
Yeah.
I love the fact that it just like took up like a decent amount of time in your day. Yeah. And he just threw it away. It was $7 and he just threw it away.
Yeah, because it ended up being, I mean, we ate some of it, but I'm saying
you had to cut your losses eventually.
It ended up being more work. That's exactly what, I'm not going to go sunk cost fallacy on this burrito. Like, you're out of here, you know? Because the whole point was it was supposed to be easier than making my own breakfast. And so like I ended up spending $14 on 2 burritos, and then I still ended up making my own breakfast, which was then kind of ruined by those burritos. It was literally worst case scenario.
You should leave a Yelp review.
I don't like doing that, man. That's a small
dude.
business.
I know. You know, it's funny
I'm not
because
gonna be a narc.
No. Well, I mean, people got to know sometimes. But I'm always trying to talk my wife into like starting like being a Yelp reviewer because I don't know, she's like way like thinks about like service and, you know, because she was like worked in, you know, service for, you know, as a waitress for so long that she has a lot of opinions and feelings about it. So I'm always like, you know, you should start being a Yelp reviewer. I
don't understand what you mean when you say that. Like you say it like it's a profession. Is there something I don't know?
Well, I mean, it's not a profession. I mean, it could be for some people, but I'll tell you. So I have some friends, this one guy that I grew up with, him and his wife are like professional Yelp reviewers in Buffalo.
Uh-huh.
And they do so many reviews and they get like invited to these like private parties where they will like, if it's like a well-reviewed place, they will invite the Yelp reviewers. They have like a private dinner and all this other stuff, and it's just kind of crazy. They get like all of the, like, this is just something they do in their spare time, and they get like all these like
But that's why you can't trust
benefits.
Yelp reviews, because that's tainting the jury.
Maybe.
That's no
but I
different.
mean, I think it's usually like after they've already been given good reviews.
I don't know, man. That's no different than like, YouTube reviews.
Yeah.
Where they get to keep the product.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people do that.
I know, but I'm saying.
And I do.
It's a lack of journalistic integrity, is what I'm saying.
Yes.
I'm not saying I haven't done it too.
But I mean, this is just something they do for free, like on there for fun.
I know.
And it's just kind of cool that they get like these free like dinners and events out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like it makes it kind of worth it for them.
I guess.
But I mean, I don't know. For like a written review, I mean, I'll take a free dinner for a written review. Like, doesn't mean it has to be good.
That's true.
Just be like, I mean, you could, like it's better than everyone getting exposed to like these bad burritos. Uh-oh. You got the stink face on. What happened?
I found something on I got my desk cleaned up quite a bit, and I don't know what this is. I mean, I
saw
kind of
you
know what it is, but I don't really know what it is.
I saw you added some bias lighting behind your monitor.
Yeah.
It's kind of awesome, right?
Yeah, it was $15.
Yeah, and I bet you can control it with your phone if you wanted to.
I don't know. It came with a remote.
Okay.
But, I mean, what I would really love to have had is one that would change color based on what's on the screen. But everything I saw that does
like
that...
Like the Hue stuff that does that is like real expensive, though.
Well, this is what I don't understand. And I'm sure it is just my own stupidity. But, like, every set that I saw that does that has, like, a little camera that you mount to the top of your TV that's pointed at the TV, right? And so it sees what color's on the TV. And then,
that's weird.
Because I just figured, because what it made me think of, I mean, for anybody out there that doesn't know that they can do this, like the analog device, like the Mega SG and I think the Super NT both do it, where it will just read whatever like the center pixel color is on the screen if you're playing a game, and it'll make the LED power LED on the console be that color, so that LED is constantly changing. And so I just would have thought, again, it's probably just my own stupidity, that like a LED strip would just sort of have a place where you would plug in an HDMI cable into it and then plug that whole thing into the HDMI port on your TV.
Yeah, just like a pass-through.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's how the Hue stuff is. It's just used as a pass-through from the... But I feel like if there's a lot of stuff going on, it's going to be like just changing so quick that it would be annoying.
That's very true. So I'm fine with the system I have. I like the remote thing, If I'm playing baseball, put a nice green. Man, I was playing. I know that nobody wants to hear about this, including you probably, but I was playing that Japanese, the PS4 Japanese baseball game, that I'm still in love with.
Yeah. That was what was on the monitor in the photo.
Exactly. It was that very game. I was playing the Yokohama DNA Bay Stars, who I hate them because they have Trevor Bauer now, and I don't like them for signing him. So anyway, I'm of course the Yomiuri Giants. And, normally I've been like dominating that game to the point that it's kind of boring. I'm trying to find like what difficulty level do I need so I can have like a competitive game of baseball, right? And I ended up starting a season, and like unless I missed it, it never asked me about difficulty levels. So I'm like, all right, So this was like, I'm a few games into the season now. I'm playing the Bay Stars. And play like 2-3 innings scoreless, which for me already is like, okay, this is a little bit more challenging. It's scoreless. That's good, Yeah. And then like they scored like one run, and then I scored.
Suddenly you're starting to sweat it a little bit.
Well, a little bit, because I'm like, man, I'm not even really getting on base, and like they scored a run, but I was letting a lot of base runners get on base, and so I was kind of worried about that. But then like one of my top guys gets in there and hits a solo home run, ties the game up, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. Then like fourth inning comes around. This is all in the third inning. Fourth inning. Now, mind you, like I said, my pitcher, we'd only given up one run, credit where credit is due. But, the Bay Stars had like a lot of runners on base. And I'm like, man, this guy does not have it. Like, this is not the Giants ace, right? This is like the third guy in the rotation. I'm like, okay, this guy doesn't have his stuff today,
Yeah.
And so I end up loading up the bases. Like I'm on offense. I'm saying I load up the bases, right? Mm-hmm. And what comes up in the batting order? The pitcher spot, right? I'm like, there's no way I've got the bases loaded in a 1-run game, or no, a tie game, 1-1 game. There's no way I'm letting this clown hit, right? Yeah. So, I open up the menu and hit the option for relief, and I get him out of there. And I get an American. There's an American on the team. Wheeler is his name. I'm like, I was looking for him because the game's 100% in Japanese, right?
Yeah,
so I'm trying
but then
to find.
You occasionally get the American name in there.
Yeah. But I'm saying like the difference is the Japanese players, their names are in kanji, and the American players, their names are in katakana. So I'm looking for Wheeler in Wida in katakana, and I found him. Okay, there he is, Wida. So I stick him in the game, right? Pinch hitter, right? First pitch, grand slam, right? And I'm like, I got my old form back, right? So now it's like 5-1. I end up over the course of that inning and the next inning tacking on like 4 more runs, I think. So it's like 9-1, right? So now I'm like, okay, this game's not as challenging as I thought it was. That's not good, because like I said, I didn't think it gave me the option to set difficulty level when I started the season, right?
Yeah, but I would assume that it just changes over time.
And now I'm up 9-1, right?
Yeah.
I ended up losing that game 15-13. It was fun. I mean, I lost. That sucked, but it was fun.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Makes you wish you had recorded it. I would have been like
100%.
Maybe I should plug this in and start recording it.
I just feel like I should never play a video game again. And we've talked about this before. I should never, ever play another game where I'm not recording it.
Yeah.
Because if you finish and you're like, nothing good happened, then you just delete the recording, But if something cool happened.
Yeah. But there's definitely like a mind share that you have, like, I got to get this stuff set up before I start playing. And it's it's not hard. Like, at least in my setup and probably on your setup.
No, it's definitely
it's not hard to do that.
No.
For me, like if I'm playing like a modern game, I want to be able to use it through my surround sound setting system, and that makes it so the audio does not go over HDMI. So I would just have only have the video, but the Zone 2, which is a second output, you can have from any of the sources on the receiver output from, and I can send that out, and I just like started plugging that into my Ninja, Ninja 5.
Did you end up buying that other one or no?
I did, yeah. I mean, we'll talk about that in a little bit.
All right. I didn't know that was a whole thing.
Yeah.
With the wiggle room.
It's not really a whole thing. But I recently, like, the big problem I was having when I was doing that is, like, going into my capture card, it passes through the surround sound audio, like, over the, the Zone 2 out, and that goes in. And my recordings would only have, like, the left and right channel. So you only hear the music, and you maybe faintly hear dialogue. And I was like, well, that's like almost unusable at the same time.
Yeah.
But the Ninja will record all those channels to like separate audio channels.
Well, then just do that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I can do now.
But you're saying that I know you don't want to talk about the Ninja right now, but you're saying that the issue with that is that the Ninja doesn't necessarily like all signals.
It doesn't necessarily like all signals, but the only time I'd have to really worry about that is with modern games, and it's totally fine with modern games.
Yeah.
The thing it doesn't like is it doesn't like the Mister, and it does work with the RetroTink.
Yeah.
But I don't think it would work if you plug directly into it. Like there's something about you have to like kind of run it through a like a splitter, which kind of like finesses the signal a little bit, like makes it. Which is fine.
Yeah,
totally
that's
fine.
More
but even in that situation, the Mister does not show up on it, and I'm not quite sure why. Because I mean, the Atomos Ninja is, much like Blackmagic design stuff.
Yeah.
It's really hard to capture games and stuff with Blackmagic, like using even the RetroTink, because if the signal is not like perfectly to like spec, it won't see it.
I mean, I have to say, I've had that experience with some Blackmagic stuff, but the Blackmagic capture device I have now, I've never had a problem with it.
Oh, so I wonder if
it was $99. It's like the cheapest capture anything that black
Really?
magic sells, and I've never had an issue with it.
So that's interesting because, I think a lot of people complained about that. And maybe they kind of
I bought it,
like loosen their restrictions on it so that they'd allow through, because they probably said like, oh, we could probably sell a lot more of these cards to people like people
that was
who want to
actually
record gameplay.
The first capture device I ever bought for my show was a Black Magic device, and I had to return it specifically because it wasn't getting along with my game consoles.
Yep, that was similar for me. Although like that wasn't the first capture device I ever bought, but it was like very, very like early in the lifetime of the channel, or like before the channel, like when I was kind of exploring different like ways of upscaling the HDMI and et cetera. And it just didn't work with anything that I wanted it to work with.
Yeah. Hey, so it's kind of ironic. I thought that, this whole idea that, now we're recording on a schedule. And, I even kind of put in the description for the last episode, I put like, the guys get their S together. I'm not going to say it. You can say it. And then this morning I wake up and I realized I'd forgotten to release the show. Like I woke up, I was laying in bed.
When did you edit it though?
Huh?
What? When did you edit it and upload it?
Oh, like last Monday or Tuesday. Like I edited it and uploaded it like right away. The thing I always have to, this is the part of doing the show that I hate. Well, I don't hate it. It's the part I like the least. And it's always the reason. It's the thing I wait to the last minute to do because I don't like typing out the description.
Oh, okay. I get
and that's
that.
why, and I always try. That's why, people probably see if you're watching on YouTube, I'm always looking down and making notes when we're talking, is I'm trying to make a list of the things we talked about because then it's easy to write the description. But what always happens is that we get to talking and I just kind of forget what I was doing and I stop doing that. And so then I have to go back and kind of watch or listen to the show and scrub through it and figure out like, what do we talk about? Because like I'm old and I forget.
Yeah.
So this morning I woke up and it was like 6:30 and I realized that I hadn't done any of that. And so like I ran down to the basement here and had to write the description so that I could but then I also noticed, and I got a bone to pick with you, mister. Your microphone discipline could use a little bit of work.
What do you mean?
Because I ended up having to adjust your audio some more, and then I re-exported the audio this morning. I left the video alone because it was too late. But because, I add noise gate and compression to both of our voices, Yeah. And you kept doing this thing last week where, people all do this, right? You get to the end of a sentence and your voice kind of falls off a little bit. You were doing that, and then at the same time, you would like look away from the microphone.
Oh.
And so your voice would disappear, Focus.
I'm only human.
I'm here. Stay right
there.
Well,
the thing is, I'm looking right at you. You were right there.
I know, but sometimes you're looking right at you. You're looking to your right. You're looking to your left. Like, eyes up here, buddy, is what I'm trying to tell you.
All right.
Anyway.
Well, I'll do my best.
That's fine. I don't actually
I did actually, increase my audio level just a touch.
Okay.
So that, it's a little bit louder. I can see the levels a little bit better on the Zoom. But just overall, I think we have a pretty, good workflow now.
Yes.
It only took us, 35 episodes.
40. This is episode 40.
This is episode 40, but we were, I was doing a certain way for 35 of those episodes. I've only really been using the Zoom for, a month or two.
Yeah. Anyway, you're listening to episode 40.
There it is.
Here's my question for you. Not brought to you, but could be brought to you by Hojicha Unsweetened Roasted Green Tea by our friends at Itoen, who I understand is the #1 manufacturer of iced tea beverages in the Pacific Rim.
Wow.
They have a lot, I drink a lot of Itoen teas, but by far, Hojicha, best one.
Best one. I'll keep that in mind.
It goes Hojicha
this is
#1.
Also not being brought to you by HMQFY Insurance.
Yeah, think about it. Think about it, HMQFY. You got two middle-aged guys here. We're both health ticking time bombs. Do we have our insurance up to date? Is our family covered in the event of something? I don't know.
A major disaster?
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
So I do like this new schedule, though. Like just having like the idea of, we can like have all week to write stuff down.
Yeah. Did you actually write stuff down this time? Because I wrote stuff down, but I always write stuff down.
I got some stuff written down. Yes.
Do you?
Yeah. I mean,
well, I'm gonna cede the floor to you then, so that I don't feel you're not making the face. If you're gonna put on the glasses, thank you. Is that too much to ask?
You know what? I like them.
It still amazes me.
I ain't gonna lie. I like them.
You go from looking 5 years younger than me to 5 years older than me just when you do
yes.
that. I love it.
So you know how I said it? I cranked up the audio levels a little bit. I don't know if I was seeing it out of the corner of my eye. It almost looked like I was peaking when I get real excited, but it's not.
All right. Well, I mean, you're getting recorded over here too, so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
got your glasses on there, so it's getting serious. What magnification level are those?
These are. I think these might. I got some real powerful ones so that I could like look closely at.
Those have wooden arms.
What?
Those have wooden arm pieces.
I don't know.
Those look pretty classy, dude.
I got these ones at Target.
That's all right.
These ones are like more expensive, and they're kind of like they kind of have like a smoky see-through.
Yeah, they're nice.
To them.
Yeah.
Look at that. Isn't that kind of wild? Like what it's doing to my face.
Yeah. It's not. Yeah. You look like that weird thing from the Quiznos commercials back like 20 years ago.
I don't know.
You don't know. That's fine.
About.
That's fine.
But speaking of which.
Speaking of Quiznos?
Well, no. Speaking of commercials like from way back when.
Okay.
I was thinking a lot today because I was having when we were eating dinner.
Yeah.
My son like tried something. Like my son, he's 8.
Yeah.
And most of the time we can't talk him into trying stuff.
Yeah.
Or if he tries something, he's already made up his mind that he doesn't like it.
Yeah.
Before he tries it.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's. I think that a lot of kids are like that.
I think a lot
I
of
may have
people
been like
are
that.
like
My
that.
brother was not, but but sometimes we can talk him and then like being a little bit like have like with some like putting some adventure in his step.
Yeah.
And we just like made some mashed up some avocado and he's just eating it on chips.
And that's like for him, that's adventurous or what?
It's not. The thing is,
here in California, here in California, we call that guacamole.
Yes, but this was just mashed up avocado with some salt on it. Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing crazy or anything on it.
Yeah.
And like that's not adventurous for him. He's had it before.
Okay.
But a lot of times he forgets that he's had certain things. He's like, no. And then he like tried one and he ended up liking it.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh yeah, will you make me some more? Because he tried his sister's first, and he's like, oh, I decided I want some, and then he like ate an entire avocado.
That's good.
Yes, very good.
Is this about the avocados for Mexico commercial?
Is this about that?
Yeah. Avocados from Mexico. You even have that commercial there? Probably not.
It sounds familiar, but I've never seen it.
All right.
But I mean, I started thinking like, oh, it's Monty likes it. And it got me thinking about like Mikey likes it, right? The Life cereal kid.
Yeah.
And like how many, like I was saying that is something that it's part of our like lives. It's like something that's just like in our, like at the age that we are and people older than us.
Yeah.
And maybe slightly younger. Like that's like part of the like everyone's going to know what you're talking about.
Yes.
But then after that point, like nobody knows.
Well, I mean,
it's just like
you're just describing my life right now. Like when I go to work, I try to make these, what are to me pop culture references.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Mikey likes it. They're like, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're doing.
It's just really interesting to me how that is something that was so prevalent.
Yeah.
In our lives for so long, and then at a certain point, it just like zero knowledge by like anybody like a certain age or younger.
But they could do the same thing back to you.
Oh, for sure. And that's just like that's the circle of life that happens to everybody.
Yeah.
But I mean, what are some other ones that you could think of that are very similar to that are just going to like fall into? They have already fallen like way beyond obscurity for anybody of a certain age. Like, where's the beef? Is what I thought of.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. 'Cause that's even like I feel like that stopped being a thing when I was still kind of a small kid. Mm-hmm. Like, well, not small,
Same
but
here.
I mean, I don't think I was out of elementary school after the where's the beef thing ended.
Me either.
You know?
Yeah. Was that Wendy's?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think that like kind of put Wendy's on the map?
I mean, that's that's a good way to market yourself, right? Get a little aggressive and attack the other guys.
Yeah.
Ironically, whenever I go to Wendy's, I get a chicken sandwich. I mean, I love hamburgers, but I'm saying like a spicy chicken sandwich, especially the home style spicy chicken sandwich from Wendy's. Why would you get anything else when you go there?
Or you could get a Frosty. I don't like that.
Well, no, I always get a Frosty.
Yeah. I mean, that's...
like I can just get a Frosty and fries, and you dunk the fries in the Frosty. Everybody knows that. And only a chocolate Frosty is an actual Frosty. Like, I think you go there now and like you can get a vanilla Frosty whenever you want. And then they'll have like special, like, oh, we have strawberry Frosties this month. That's not a Frosty. I mean, good for them for providing
like
options to
Frosties
people.
Just
but
like, it's not so much the flavor. It's like it has a certain consistency to it.
Yeah.
That basically nothing else can replicate that.
You know what's funny about that? I don't know if you read Tim Rogers' Final Fantasy VI review. I know I've brought it up before.
Yeah.
And he talks
about
going to Wendy's and getting a Frosty and then coming home and just putting it in the freezer and then going to sleep. And then waking up later and taking it out of the freezer and like smashing it back up and eating it. It's like, no, like you've ruined the texture. Like you have to eat a Frosty fresh or like what's the point?
Yes. And I would go as far as saying that is true for all milkshakes. You should never put a milkshake into the freezer and then come and get it later.
Then just have ice cream in the freezer and then like take it out, scoop some into a bowl, pour some milk in there and like stir it up real fast with a spoon. You've just made a milkshake. You're welcome. I just gave you the recipe for a milkshake.
Yes. And I would say that putting a Frosty in the fridge or a milkshake in the fridge is like way more acceptable.
I mean, if it helps, I think you could put it in there for a little while before it started like melting.
Right.
But I mean, my whole thing is like, just don't.
That's more acceptable to me though.
It is, but I just think if you're going to get a Frosty, just don't punch above your weight. Get whatever size Frosty you can consume in like one sitting.
Yeah.
You have there's no reason to put one in the fridge. Like, don't get a large. It's too big for you.
Yeah. If you cannot finish a Frosty in one sitting, like there's something wrong with you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not sure I've ever gotten like a large Frosty. I don't know how big those are, I'll tell you what, I'm horrified at the price of Frosties these days. Like they used to have a Frosty on their 99-cent menu. Now, like the cheapest Frosty at Wendy's is like $3.
Well, I mean, they know what they're doing.
Well,
they know that people will.
From what I'm told,
pay this absurd.
If you want to get good deals now at fast food restaurants, you have to have their app on your phone. And then I've had people talk to me like I'm stupid. Like, what? You mean you just like walk in there and just order your food? Like you're supposed to have the app. That's how you get the deals. Like I don't want fast food restaurant apps on my phone.
Yeah, my wife tried using the McDonald's one.
I just don't go to those places anymore. I'm not paying over $10 for a Big Mac meal. For $10 I can get a much better meal than that.
Yes.
But apparently that's my problem for not having the app.
Yeah. My wife did it from McDonald's one time and they said, if you park in this place, we'll bring it out to you.
Yeah.
And then she went there and parked there and it never came out until eventually she like went inside. It's just sitting there.
Yeah.
And it's like all cold and everything. It's like, he told me to sit there.
Yeah.
You got a whole parking place for this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's fast food. Just go through the drive-thru and order. Like, that's the entire appeal of fast food.
Yes.
Like, that's the whole reason. You know, who cares about, like, apps? You know, like, what are you doing? Like, on your phone? Like, while are you making your order? Right. Like, are they asking you to make that order?
I think so.
Like, on your phone while you're driving there?
I think so. I don't know. I don't do it.
I mean, it sounds like maybe they're just trying to thin out the population.
Maybe.
I don't know.
So you saw the text I sent you earlier, obviously, because you replied to it.
Yeah.
We had another under the bridge sighting.
Yeah.
But I have an important update, not just for you, but for all of our listeners and viewers. I have found Red Hot Chili Peppers. I found them.
Okay.
I normally listen to First Wave on my Sirius radio.
Yeah.
That's like all the 80s, new wave music. But there's like a couple nights a week where they play, like they have special shows that I don't care for. And so I'll just change the channel, no big deal. Mm-hmm. And so the other day I changed it and I put on Lithium, which is the, grunge, 90s grunge and alternative channel. And I had it on like all evening. It's not like they were playing this stuff back to back, but I mean, I heard multiple Red Hot Chili Pepper songs that I haven't heard in a while. So
interesting.
That's where they're hiding. They're over on Lithium on Sirius XM.
That's they're hiding out there. Like anything that's not underneath the bridge or under the bridge or Danny California or maybe Californication.
Oh, that's true. I did. Full disclosure, I didn't get it on video. I did hear Danny California on the radio about a week ago. I did change the channel, though. I don't like that song.
Yeah. I mean, I don't either, but it's like... But, like, Californication is a pretty good song. And so, Scar Tissue is a good song. Like, that album's, like, just
I like
good
both of those songs,
general.
yeah. Like, if either of those came on the radio, I would not change the channel.
Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, if I'm being real honest, I know this makes me weak-minded, but I think there's a time when Danny California could have come on the radio, and I wouldn't have liked it, but I wouldn't have changed the channel. But when you have somebody like scientifically break down why that song
I can't
sucks,
not hear Mary Jane's Last Dance now.
Yeah.
When I hear that.
Which is a far better song.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And, Mary Jane's Last Dance, that was a song that was like new when I was a senior in high school.
Yeah, and that was like his last real hit song, wasn't it? I would say.
Because I feel like You Don't Know How It Feels was after that.
No. I don't think so.
Really?
I don't think so. I don't have to think about that.
Like Wildflowers.
Because he recorded Mary Jane's Last Dance during the same recording sessions as the Wildflowers album.
Okay. Yeah.
But Mary Jane's Last Dance was on the Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers Greatest Hits release.
Okay.
So I don't know which came out first, but without looking it up, to me, I feel like Wildflowers came out first.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I was a freshman in high school when Wildflowers came out. But I could be,
really?
I could definitely be wrong about that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to look it up.
I feel like I was in like maybe 11th grade or something like that. And like both of those were very close.
It's definitely because I'm 2 years older than you, right? So it definitely did not come out that late. Because
Wildflowers. So
I was
remember
very much
that
still
album
in high school when
and Pearl
album
Jam's
came out.
Vitology at the same time.
All right.
I don't know if that matters.
Not to me.
So there is I guess there's a really, really good Tom Petty documentary. That's like almost 4 hours long.
Again.
Rock doc, but I've heard that it's really, really good, and it's like 4 hours long.
Yeah. I
think we should try to watch it before next week's episode.
Oh my God, 4 hours?
I had a friend who was like, I was like up one night, I'd been drinking, and I was about to go to bed, and then I saw that the Tom Petty documentary was on, and it was like 4 hours, and I stayed up all night watching it.
Wow. I mean, I'm sure it's good. I'm just like, I don't know if I can,
That's a serious chunk of time. But if you watch an hour a day,
I got a lot going on right now,
But we could talk about it.
I know. I'll try. I'll try to. I'll see how far I can get with it. How about that? What service is it on?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just
well.
saying that it exists. I don't know where it is.
Okay.
Yet.
All right. Fair enough.
I'll see if I can find it though. But I mean, jumping back
to what?
To like the Mikey likes it and where's the beef. I mean, is there anything else that you could think of?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I don't know why, because for some reason I get this stuck in my head on a fairly regular basis. Is the bubble tape commercials? Bubble tape. It's 6 feet of bubble gum for you, not them.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because I used to chomp on bubble tape.
Yeah.
Like for a while I switched over from Big League Chew.
Well, I was just going to say
bubble tape, and then of course I went back to Big League Chew. You can't beat Big League Chew.
You can't?
No.
I was just going to say, like in a face-off, who you going with? And it's definitely Big League Chew. Which, do they still make it?
I honestly don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they did not.
It's just really...
Just because
yes, I would be very surprised. But I would I wonder if they try to frame it differently because, it's supposed to be like chewing tobacco.
Yeah, but I feel like these days, first of all, it's like selling candied cigarettes or something to kids.
Yeah, exactly.
But also, I don't feel like kids like baseball that much anymore. Like,
oh, well, I don't know. One of my son's friends does.
Oh, well, in that case,
I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, bubble tape is good and is like vastly inferior to Big League Chew. But like, neither one of them are that great because they lose their flavor in like.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing with both of those, and I don't know what it is because I would never do this with any other gum, right? Like normally, you got a pack of gum right in your pocket, and you're chewing it, no more flavor. You get a new piece out, unwrap it, use that wrapper to get rid of the old piece, and then shove the new piece in, right?
Yeah.
But with both bubble tape and Big League Chew, I would always just shove in more gum. Like the old gum was still in there, and I was just adding to it.
Yeah. I mean, the coolest thing about bubble tape was basically the packaging.
Oh, for sure.
It's almost like, I have this little thing. It's like a mini packing tape.
Yes, exactly.
And kids dig that. Like my kids have gotten bubble tape.
I mean, what bubble
times.
gum do they still? Is Bubblicious still around or Hubba Bubba?
Bubblicious is definitely is.
Double Bubble.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh, Bazooka. Sure. They still make. Remember Bazooka, and you got the little tiny comic with Bazooka Joe.
Yeah.
And remember,
I know you're talking about.
If you saved the comics, you could send them in. And use them like tickets to get, something stupid like a Super Bowl or something.
I feel like that exists, but it does not have the comics or anything on there anymore.
Forget that.
Yeah, like who even cares at that point?
Yeah.
I mean, do you even chew gum, really?
Not anymore. I went through a phase
adult.
For a long time where I was chewing extra, mint gum, but not. Yeah, that's peppermint. I would get the winter green.
Yeah, green is way better than blue.
I don't know. I'm fine with both of them, but I used to chew that a lot. I don't know. I think part of it was like I had a job where I was constantly talking to customers and stuff, because I was going around repairing. I'd go into labs and repair their equipment, right? So I'd show up and have to talk to them, and I'm like, well, better throw a piece of gum in my mouth. It took me. I've been in a car for 2 hours coming over here.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
What is the kind of gum that's in the yellow pack? Is it like Wrigley's like spearmint or something like that? Or
you mean Juicy Fruit? That's in a yellow package.
Juicy Fruit, that's it.
Juicy Fruit.
Like, yes.
If anybody gets that reference, please leave a comment below. Juicy Fruit.
That is still around, and I feel like that is
delicious.
Juicy Fruit is it's good. Yes, it's delicious, and it may be the most iconic tasting bubble gum like out there.
That one had a commercial too, didn't it? I can't remember the lyrics.
Oh, I had it. Oh, Juicy Fruit is gonna move ya.
Yeah, exactly.
Dun 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 dun. It gets right to ya.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
that's another one.
There's another one.
Yeah.
But I do feel that Juicy Fruit is the most. It's like the most iconic tasting.
But you want to talk about something that runs out of flavor fast? Juicy Fruit.
Yes.
Way better
100%.
than Fruit Stripe. You ever get Fruit Stripe gum?
No.
Vastly inferior to juicy fruit.
Yeah. I mean, that's why nobody's heard of it. Well, I've never heard of it.
What about Big Red? You ever chew Big Red?
Oh, yeah. Big Red. Wasn't there there? This makes me think there was like some sort of Big Red challenge, when I was in school, where you would lick the wrapper and then put it on your arm or something like that, and it would like burn you.
I had never heard of that, but I have a hard time believing
the Big
that's
Red
enough
challenge, and like people would have
to
to do it, and then they have to put it on their forehead, and it does, like the cinnamon like activates, and it like does.
Yeah, I imagine so.
Mildly burn you.
Yeah.
Let's bring back the Big Red challenge. I mean, it was not called that, but I want to call it that.
Yeah.
But I mean, speaking of all that stuff,
okay.
My kids go back to school on Wednesday.
Oh, nice.
It's good, but it's kind of amazing just how quickly the summer went.
You got to feel a little bit bad for them, right? I mean, you're probably happy to, but I mean,
well,
it sucks for them.
It does.
It
does.
And,
my daughter's going to be in middle school.
What's today, like the 14th?
Yeah.
How is summer over already?
I know.
They should have like 2 more weeks.
You'd think so. Growing up, the school wouldn't start until after Labor Day for me.
That's what I remember, like September being when school started.
Yeah.
Although I would say I remember it being like the Monday before Labor Day, because then I remember like our very first weekend was a 3-day weekend, which to me, like, that's good. Easy.
Yeah, that's a really cool way to do it. But for me, it was always the first Wednesday after Labor Day.
Oh, all right.
And in New York State, we'd have to go a lot. We'd go a lot later into the year. We'd go almost to the end of June.
Oh my God!
Because we had these state tests called Regents tests, and when I was in elementary, all the high school kids were taking it, but the elementary kids would stay in school like until they were done.
Oh wow!
And when you take them in high school, when you have those tests in high school, you're off. But you just have to go to the school the day of the test and go and take the test and leave.
Yeah.
And then, like the day after the last test is graduation. But we would go until like June 26th or something like that.
That sounds awful.
Is it more awful than starting on August 16th?
I mean, they're both awful.
Yeah.
But the idea of taking this stupid standardized test at the end of the year sounds pretty crappy too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's really stressful for people that struggle with that stuff like me.
Yeah.
You'd have to spend a bunch of time studying for it, and it was like everything that was the teachers taught you all year.
Yeah. Well,
but go ahead.
No,
I keep on interrupting you. So.
Well, it's normally I'm the one doing that, so go ahead.
It's crazy that they're starting already, and it's amazing that summer's over. But do you have any particular memories of the end of summer, and just when you're kids, summer lasts forever?
No, summer does not last forever. I went through the exact same emotional roller coaster. I've talked about this like on flashback episodes. The same emotional roller coaster that I went through between like Friday afternoon and Sunday night during the school year, I went through the same thing during the summer. It just, instead of taking 48 hours, it took 2.5 months,
Mm-hmm.
Because I just dreaded going back to school.
Interesting.
So that's why when you tell me that your kids have to go back to school in 2 days, I just, I feel bad because like, it reminds me of, still being in public school, especially when I was in high school. But I mean, junior high was no party either. So, I just hated it, and summer was, when you're a kid, I mean, summer's amazing, especially I think when we were kids, like I don't know. I think it's funny. I'm not a parent, so I feel like I don't have any right to talk, but like, these days, parents, I think, have to be so much more involved with their kids and we have to have all these activities and do this and do that. And like, I don't know, man, it's when I think of all my best memories of being a kid, it's not having to deal with my parents. It's going and doing stuff on my own, like going out and riding bikes with my friends and
Yep.
spending all day in the
Getting
summer
lost
just
in the
like
woods.
yeah, like going out and playing baseball, having ghost runners, drinking out of the hose in the yard,
Playing
turning
kick
it
the
on.
can.
Anything.
Did you
Just
play kick
the
the can?
idea that's like, oh, you're going to go to summer camp and then like we have these other activities. Like I would have hated that. That's like I might as well go back to school then. Like leave me alone.
Yes, and I agree. I mean, that's how we are. I mean, the kids were in different camps like almost every single
Yeah.
minute of this entire vacation. Like they had like 3 weeks off, like spread out throughout, I guess, where they didn't have camp. And, they got to do a lot of cool things, but by the end of the summer, it's just like very obvious. They're just like, come on.
Yeah.
I just want to just like, let me sleep in.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, like growing up, I only went to Cub Scout day camp, which is like 1 week every summer. And it wasn't even overnight. You just go in the morning, you get picked up at 3.
Yeah.
And that was it. That was the only camp that I did.
Yeah. That's how it should be. I don't know. I just can't imagine like what kids, have to.
What it would be like
it's
to be a
summer.
kid
I want
now.
to stay home. I'm going to watch all the shows that are on during the day that I can't watch during the school year. I want to beat games that I didn't have time to play during the school year. I want to go outside and play with my friends. Like I don't want like activities.
Yes.
But
I think the difference is, and I guess maybe one of the reasons that we struggle with it is because when we were that age, we had this thing that we could do during the day, and then like we would eventually kind of get tired of it for that day and maybe go outside and do something.
Yeah.
But when you have things like YouTube or like anything streaming, like it's just unlimited new things that just like keep on getting served up to you that you might just like. I mean, if we didn't say anything, I'm very convinced that my kids would just like literally like stare at their iPad, and never eat or do anything, if we just like let them do whatever.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I agree that you should
like
not
always
do that.
Yeah. But
and
I feel
I'm
like,
sure we didn't do that just because we didn't have all that stuff. I mean, how much TV when we were kids? I'm saying, how much TV could you really watch every day? It would get old.
Well, yeah, and
but plus we wanted to go out and do stuff, but you know, we didn't have YouTube and Minecraft and Roblox.
Yeah. And you just get the feeling of, I want to go do something different because there's nothing I want to watch on right now.
Right.
Nothing's good right now. I'm going to go do something different.
Yes.
And it's that all changes when you can just be like, oh, I don't like this.
Yeah, there's always you can always make there be something good on, is what you're saying as a kid. Yeah. That makes total sense.
It's different.
Yeah. I actually had this kind of written down on my list too. Because we're getting to that time of the year where, because like you mentioned, when you did your half-assed Does It Slap a few weeks ago about, spring, summer, or fall, and I mentioned that, summer's my least favorite season. I don't hate it.
Yeah.
But I don't hate any season, but summer's my least favorite. And so to me, summer is like a thing I have to just get through. And so the whole time I'm looking, it's the opposite of being a kid. Like now I'm looking forward to fall. And like now we're in August, and so like you're starting to see the first signs that fall is coming, like yesterday I watched the first 49ers preseason game, which sucked. At the store, they're starting to get the Oktoberfest beers in, which is like another sign of autumn coming. So I'm excited, even though like, it's 1,000,000 degrees outside right now. It's like the end is in sight.
Yeah. I mean, my favorite thing about fall is just the clothes that you can wear.
Oh, 100%. I was actually just thinking about that today. Like my whole wardrobe, like all of my nice clothes are like cool weather clothes. Like button-down shirts. I buy like nice jeans. I have nice shoes. Like, as long as it's cool enough to wear that kind of stuff, I always look way nicer in the winter. Like for me, summer is like $10 Target t-shirts and like $10 Costco shorts. Because like all I care about in the summer is like being as comfortable as possible.
Avoiding the swamp nuts.
Oh, avoid the Noid. There's another one.
Avoid there it is.
You're
Domino's
really obsessed
Pizza.
with swamp nuts lately, I gotta say.
I just think it's really funny. It's like it's a funny combination of words.
Yeah.
So what do you got? What do you got on your list?
Oh, yeah. I was going to bring this up. So last night, probably why I didn't finish, buttoning up the podcast. My wife and I watched My Neighbor Totoro.
Oh, so you're like,
I had seen once before, although not like a month ago, not like a long time ago. And because I was like, I'd never watched, well, not never, but I think I've talked about this before. Like the only anime I've ever seen was like when I was in high school, a friend of mine made me watch, I think it was Fist of the North Star. And I don't even remember anything about it because I really didn't care. And then when I was in college, another friend made me watch Graveyard of the Fireflies, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And of course I didn't. I mean, we talked about this already. Very good movie. I don't ever want to see it again. But outside of that, I don't watch anime at all, right? And so like I didn't even really know, just to show how dumb I am when it comes to this stuff, I didn't really know like what Studio Ghibli is. Like, cause to me, it's just all anime, and I'm not interested, or at least I wasn't interested.
Japanimation.
Right? Yes, thank you. But then, I got my office mate at work, and like she's really into Studio Ghibli stuff. And then the guy in the office next door to me is into Studio Ghibli stuff. I started talking to him like, because I mentioned I had it in the back of my mind. I want to watch My Neighbor Totoro because of the Boku no Natsuyasumi video, because Tim Rogers talks about it in such a way where I'm like, I think I want to check that movie out. And I mentioned that to my coworker, and then she goes off and it's, oh my God, you got to watch this one. You got to watch Kiki's Delivery Service and like Howl's Moving Castle and Spirited Away. And like, okay. So anyway, the point
what
is.
about Nausicaa and the Valley of the Wind?
I don't know if she mentioned that one or not. But so, normally, because, my wife loves watching movies, right? And so normally I would just come home and say, hey, you want to watch this movie with me? But I'd never seen a Studio Ghibli movie, and I kind of felt like I better just watch this first and see if I think this is something my wife would like.
Yeah.
Because she'd never watched anything like that either. Like normally we watch like, if she wants to watch an animated feature, it's going to be like a Pixar movie or something.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I watched My Neighbor Totoro and I liked it. And so I told her about it, and she was into, because I said I am 100% down to watch it again. Because like I watched it, and then I didn't want to read it. I didn't know anything about it aside from whatever Tim Rogers said about it, which isn't much, right? Like I didn't go like read the Wikipedia article about it or anything like that. I'm just like I just want to go in.
That's how I live my life now. I feel like.
What?
If I want to check something out or something's recommended to me, I just think it's way more fun to like not do any research on it.
Yes, because it just ruins it.
Yes.
Yeah, like if I had read the plot before I watched it, it would have kind of ruined it for me. In fact, my not my office mate, but the guy in the office next door, he somehow got it confused with a different movie, because he said, "Oh yeah, My Neighbor Totoro, that's kind of a depressing movie." And I'm like, "Why? What happens?" He's like, "Well, somebody." He's like, I don't want to ruin it for you, but somebody dies at the end."
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, all right, well, that's sad, but whatever,
Grave of the Fireflies.
And so, like, I watched the movie, but so then I was expecting the mother, like, oh, the mother's going to die, I guess, because of what he said. Then, of course, the mother doesn't die. So, anyway, I really enjoyed it, but I read about it afterwards and read about, like, some of the themes of the movie that kind of went over my head because I'm not familiar enough with Japanese culture. And so I'm like, now I would kind of like to watch it again. And so I told my wife about it because I figured maybe she would like to watch it with me. And so that's what we did last night. And she had a very good observation that I guess somehow I didn't really notice, which is that, pretty much I would say any that I can think of, at least, like any American animated movie you watch, the storyline always boils down to like good versus bad. Right. There's a hero and there's some level of the evil person or some other kind of bad. Yeah. There's various levels of bad. You can have like an evil witch, or you can have like the rival car in Cars, right? But it's always like, I'm the hero, that's the bad guy, and then I have to triumph over the bad guy at the end.
Yeah.
And My Neighbor Totoro has none of that, which I think is cool. Is my point.
I mean, I've never seen it
refreshing.
either. So
you've never seen what?
My Neighbor Totoro.
Oh, dude, you should watch it. It's really good.
I mean, I'm familiar with like the character.
Yeah,
Totoro.
I get that. Well, that's the thing. I didn't know. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh yeah, I've seen that. I've seen Totoro before. Like, probably as a stuffed thing in a store or something.
Exactly.
Without knowing what it was from. But you should
I'm gonna watch it.
It's on Max. Now it's not HBO Max anymore. It's just Max.
It's just this old.
But what's neat is that on Max, they have two. You can watch the American version of it, which is like dubbed with pretty famous American actors.
Yeah.
Or you can watch the original and it'll just have subtitles. I watched it that way both times. I don't want to listen to a dubbed movie.
Yeah.
I don't mind reading,
Yeah, I mean, but I'm not going to do that with my kids. Like I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm just going to put it on and watch it for the first time.
Technique that you, Yes, then you should definitely watch the American dubbed version. Yes. Yeah.
I mean, maybe my son would be into it because he's getting into Dragon Ball right now.
Yeah.
And I think I've never watched Dragon Ball. Like, I just know of it. Like,
Same.
Maybe I've watched like chunks of episodes here and there.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of the characters just because.
I don't even know that.
Like just like being in the games, a lot of times some of these characters would get mentioned or something like that.
I've never played any of the games either. Sorry, it's not. It's not like a competition of who knows less about Dragon. I'm just saying I'm completely clueless. I know the name Dragon Ball Z, and that's it.
Well, Dragon Ball Z is just one of many series.
Do you think in Britain do they call it Dragon Ball Z? Do you think?
Probably.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe someone can leave a comment on this.
It's a fair question.
Episode and answer that. But he's really into it, and it's been really interesting watching his progression of becoming more into it because he's really into it now. But at first he watched one episode and he's like, why are they just like yelling all the time? If you know anything about Dragon Ball,
yeah,
you've undoubtedly seen something where they're like, oh, like charging up for something.
Yeah,
like they're always charging up for something.
Yeah,
and they're like yelling all the time. And he's just like, at first he was just saying, why are they just yelling all the time?
Yeah,
and I'm like, I don't know. Like that's a very astute observation because I just accepted like that's what happens in it. It's not, like that is actually pretty ridiculous that they're just yelling.
Yeah.
Charging up their attacks and throwing big balls of light at each other or lasers or something.
What's funny, it was one of the misgivings I had about Totoro. Not personally, but I was concerned that my wife might get annoyed, is that the two girls, like, they only really have one volume, and it's like 11. It's two little girls. Like it's like a 10-year-old girl and like a 4-year-old girl and their dad.
Yeah. Did she like it though? She thought
she did. She liked it a lot. In fact, as soon as it was over, she was like, "Oh, what else is there?" Because we're watching it on Max. Like as soon as the movie's over, it pops up like recommendations. And like I said, it was like Kiki's Delivery Service and Spirited Away, and so yeah,
Princess Mononoke.
That one did not pop up.
That's still that was the first one I ever. Well, I saw that one in the theater when it had like a limited release when I was in college. I watched that with the kids. It's kind of violent.
Oh,
not so much for kids in the same way.
I was at a garden supply store the other day, of all things, and there was a guy wearing a Princess Mononoke shirt, and I was able to read it.
Oh, so I mean, you've been
progress.
You've been learning some Japanese, then.
Well, I learned like I can read hiragana and katakana now. So I can't.
How are you learning it, through a book, or are you using something like the Duolingo app or anything like that on your phone?
No, I found a website that teaches you. Like I learned hiragana first, and then katakana. Yeah. It teaches you, and then it has like a quiz tool.
And you do something at the end, like you do it for a few minutes every day, essentially.
I mean, I got kind of obsessive about it, so I did it more than a few minutes. I just really enjoyed it. I still do it. Like if I need to kill time, I'll just open up my iPad and open the quiz tool and just run through it. To keep it all
free
fresh.
Site, or do you gotta?
No, it's free. Yeah.
For it?
It's free. I think what they do is they have a program to help you learn kanji, and that you have to pay for.
Oh, okay.
Which I think it's funny to me because I was reading I read something else where somebody was saying like if you're learning Japanese, like don't bother learning kanji. Like is that kind of saying that like right now that's a waste of your time?
I see.
Which makes sense to me because
so they would charge you for the extra effort that it would really require.
I think because a lot of people think they want to learn kanji, I guess.
Yeah.
But it was basically the person was making the argument that like instead of wasting your time learning kanji, you should be studying vocabulary.
Okay. You know what you should do?
Which made sense to me. Because like if you read I read, I have all my PC Engine magazines and stuff like that, which are written, probably with teenagers in mind, right? Kids and teenagers. So like any time they use a kanji character, they write above it. I forgot what it's called, but above the kanji character is written out in hiragana. So like you don't have to know what the kanji character is if you know what that word is audibly because it's written in hiragana right above it.
What you should do when you are feeling pretty comfortable with it, which you seem to be, is I think I heard Tim Ratcher say one time that a great game to play
Dragon Quest
when
V.
you're like is Dragon Quest V. Yeah.
No, that's exactly what I'm doing. That's my goal right now is I'm trying to get good enough that I can play Dragon Quest V. I've never played Dragon Quest V. I don't know anything about it. If I can get good enough at Japanese to play that, then bam.
I played on the DS, like, as a like a localized version on the DS, and it's a very good game.
I will say this though. I was going to say this on my show at some point, but I'm going to say it here. If you're anybody out there, if you're somebody that's into playing, if you're into old video games and you like Japanese games, do yourself a favor and just learn how to read katakana. It takes like a day.
I'm going to do that.
It takes like a day or two. It's not.
If you got a big brain like you.
No, it's not. It's like
a little pea brain, like like a stegosaurus brain. I don't have me. Then I don't have a big brain.
Days. It's not. It seems very daunting. Once you start doing it, you're like, oh, this really isn't that big of a deal. And then, like now, at least when I see Japanese text, I can go, okay, that's kanji. That's not going to happen. That's hiragana. I probably don't know that either. Like 90% at least, probably more than 90% of things you see written in katakana, which once you know how to read katakana, you recognize, oh, that's katakana. It's an English word. And if you can sound it out, you're like, oh, that just says whatever. It just says it in a different written language. And so my point is, if you can read katakana, you'd be surprised at how helpful that is playing old Japanese games. Because a lot of old Japanese games, there's already a lot of text in there that's just straight up in English. Yeah. But then there's a lot of other stuff that I thought, was in Japanese, but it's not. It's just katakana, and it's still English. And you can sound it out and be like, oh, that just says whatever. It's been immensely helpful playing that baseball game. Because I can go into the menu system and go, oh, that says play, that says instant replay, that says relief. Because it's just in katakana. It's like, oh, easy.
Well, I want you to send me that site, like, after this is done.
Well, I'm going to I'll send you the site, but just so I don't leave the hordes of people that watch and listen to the show hanging, it's the site is Tofugu. Tofugu, Tofugu.
Ooh. I mean, it sounds like it's a cool sounding, but also kind of gross sounding name.
I don't know about that, but they have a katakana study guide and a hiragana study guide. And
it's all free.
It's all free,
except for the kanji stuff.
Yeah, but don't worry about.
All right, well, my journey will begin. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
maybe we could play Dragon Quest V at the same time.
That would be cool.
Although I've already played it.
I did buy a book though. Just full disclosure, I did also buy a book. But here's the thing: is like I bought the book, but like chapter 0 of the book is like, you need to learn how to read hiragana and katakana before you can even start this book. Because the book, I think, like the first chapter, it'll write things out in English characters, which is romaji, and hiragana, but then after that it's hiragana only because it's trying to immerse you in that. So it's like you can't. And the book I bought is like a textbook that like high school and college Japanese courses would use, intro, right? Know. But so that's when I read that, I'm like, oh, I can get started, and it's like, nope, you need to learn hiragana and katakana first. I'm like, oh, okay. And at the time I was kind of like, I was hoping to get started, but I'm so glad that I did that because, like I said, now I can see stuff, in games.
That's exciting. I mean, that sounds fun. It sounds like something that I would like to do.
Yeah. I don't know how we got started talking about that. So.
I don't know how we got started, but I did want to circle back because it was early last week now.
What?
That this happened, but I went to see Better Than Ezra.
I forgot about that. Yes.
Better in concert.
Yeah.
And like I'm not a huge fan. I'm familiar with a number of songs, but
I appreciate their radio hits, I would say.
Yes.
Yeah. I got nothing bad to say about Better Than Ezra.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And they the reason we went is because they had a very important role in my wife's life. Like they were like her her favorite band for a long time. Like
that's like her REM is Better Than Ezra.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, she always talks about like the time she like saw them in concert and stuff, and she was like up against in the very front, against like
back in their heyday.
Yeah, okay. Like up against the gate in the front.
Wow. All right.
It's not like they were playing like arenas or anything like that, but
yeah,
it was, probably.
Hopefully, she stayed safely away from the mosh pit.
Yes, I'm sure that I don't think that there was one probably for them. I don't know, but I can't say for sure.
I was joking about the mosh pit.
But I sent you a lot of different video clips and photos like during.
I know you were making me nervous. I was trying to tell you stop doing like you're on a date with your wife. Like stop.
No, we went with another friend of ours, so it wasn't even It was not a thing. And plus, I wanted to have this stuff so that because I would assume that she would want to keep these for memories also. She like took a lot of videos, but not really. So
yeah.
But I felt like because I'm not as big of a fan, I felt like it was okay for me to film some more stuff.
I mean, you were kind of doing her a service in a way.
Yeah, so that she could
could just be in the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just it's a weird thing these days because everyone's like, oh, like everybody like goes to shows and they're just like looking at their phones or like watching the show through their phones, like as they're
Yes, I agree with
recording.
That statement. Yeah.
And like I don't even understand why people have a hard time with that. Like just like start recording and then like watch with your eyes.
I think my problem with it is just that if you're sitting, the farther back you're sitting, the more like phone screens you have in your field of view when you want to be focusing on the band. I think that's my only issue with it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I could see that being a thing if you're like really far back. It wasn't a sold out show. But I got to say it was really good. What I liked about it is it just seemed like they were just having the best time.
Yeah.
They were just happy to be up there and playing and just like screwing around. I don't know how old they are. But I mean, they're probably like maybe
I'd guess like maybe 5 years older than us, if I had to guess.
Oh, definitely. He's definitely older than us. But I mean, maybe he's like 53, 54.
Yeah.
Maybe 55.
I mean, their first hit came out, that Good song, I was 18.
Okay. But yeah. So if he was 18, and that was... it
was 95.
I think it was like 93, maybe 93 or 94.
I thought it was 95.
Okay,
again,
I guess if you're 18. Yeah. So I mean, he said, but the thing is he said during the show that he wrote that in like 1988 or something like that.
Oh wow. Okay, so maybe he is
like
a little
he
on the
wrote
older
it like
side.
a long time ago.
Yeah.
Long before. Maybe it was 1990 that he wrote it, and he said, "Oh, it took like 5 years for like anybody to
Wow.
pick up on it
Yeah.
or something. Like maybe it was someplace else before it was on their album." But it just seemed like they were having such a good time.
Yeah.
It was. I was joking and saying everybody there was exactly the same age as me.
Yeah.
Basically.
Sure.
But there were a couple of people there with their kids.
Yeah.
They were not young kids. I mean, they were not. I mean, not grown up kids, but they weren't super young. But they were maybe like 13, 14 or so.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I can't. I want to do something. I want to take my daughter to something like this.
She'd be into it, I bet.
Oh yeah, and I think I said this in the text message, but I was feeling it because this was the first show that I've been to inside of a place in a really long time, like pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
So it's just the way that sound, like the sound of that kick drum,
Yeah.
like just like it sounds different and it just like hits you like in a way that cannot be replicated. I feel like.
Yeah.
And it just felt really nice to feel that feeling.
Yeah.
Again. But they played for, like an hour and like almost 2 hours probably.
It's pretty good.
And I said it to you in the message I was sending to you, but I was very impressed that they did not end with like their big hits.
Yeah.
Like they just like, they didn't play any encore or anything like that.
Yeah.
But they I mean, they did play like some cover songs, which was fun too.
Yeah.
But I was very impressed that they did not end with their biggest hits.
I just feel like that's what you should do. Like I don't know, man. It's just like when you're a band, if you have like one or two hits and you wait and you play them at the end, it's just like most of the people in the audience, that's what they're there to hear, right?
Yeah.
And they're really just there waiting around to hear those, And it's just like if you pepper them into your set at various spots, it's like, look, you came here to hear me play X. I just played it. Now you can relax and just check out the rest of what we're playing instead of just being like, oh, is that the one yet? Is this it?
Yeah.
Like, I like that. I think that's very cool that they did that.
Yeah, but not a lot of people do it. I mean, at least the shows that I've been to. And a lot of times I usually see these bands that only have like a couple of hits or like one or something like that as an opener a lot of times. And if you're an opener, it makes sense to play that last.
Yes.
Play like your most popular song last.
Yeah.
But, if you're the headliner, it was a good show, and my wife got a T-shirt. We got a T-shirt for my daughter also.
Good.
The T-shirt has a kind of wet, hot American summer vibe to it.
Okay.
Like cartoon versions of them, like in the back of a
all right.
thing. It's kind of fun, but it's drawn in that wet, hot American summer style.
Yes.
If you've seen, I assume you've probably seen that movie.
I haven't seen the movie, but I know exactly what you're talking about with the artwork. How much was the shirt? Do you remember?
The shirts were like $30, I think. Which, I mean, yes.
No. Like, I'm saying that because the last concert my wife and I went and saw Rodrigo y Gabriela,
Mm-hmm.
And the shirts were like T-shirts. They were like $60. We're like, not going to happen.
But because that's where they make their money.
I get it, but that's a little much. I feel like if you don't you think if you made them a little cheaper, you'd sell more? Like, I'm not paying $60.
Yeah.
For that better be a designer
like 30.
T-shirt that's the softest material I've ever felt in my life, which it's not going to be.
Yeah. Well, these ones seem pretty soft. They seem pretty good.
Yeah. And they were only $30, which is not bad.
Yeah.
I'm saying $30 to me is
show.
totally fine. You're at a concert, you're going to pay a little bit of a premium. I get that. But $30, that's completely reasonable in my opinion, for a concert T-shirt. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a thought though while I was there. I'm sure you've heard people saying like, "Oh, it's not cool to wear like the band shirt to like their show or something like that.
But didn't that? I feel like that came out of a movie, and then everybody started repeating it. Like it was in like Wayne's World or something.
Maybe.
And then it turned into this thing that was supposed to be real. Like you don't wear the shirt of the band you're going to see. It might not have been Wayne's World, would it? But that's where it came out of a movie.
Yeah,
I don't think that's an actual thing.
I don't think it's an actual thing either.
Because if you were the band,
I think it's totally fine.
I would like, if I was the musician, I would like to look out in the crowd and be like, oh man, there's a bunch of people here wearing Better Than Ezra shirts. That's awesome. Right?
Right.
Like if you look out and they're wearing a Candlebox shirt, then you're like, what?
Or Cracker shirt.
Yeah, not Uncle Cracker.
No.
Cracker.
Yeah. But I could see like going to shows like that and being excited if there's like something like, oh, they got this shirt a long time ago. But what do you think about wearing a shirt for the band that you just got at that show? Like literally changing your shirt and putting it on.
I mean, I wouldn't do it, but I wouldn't like side eye somebody else that did it if that's what you're asking. Like I don't.
Okay. I'm just curious.
If you're that excited to be there, you're like, oh, I got the shirt on, put it on right now. Like, go for it, man. You know, fly your freak flag. But like for me, like, I wouldn't bother. I mean, it's funny. I can't remember the last time.
I saw somebody do that, and I did kind of give him a side eye. And then I was thinking, like, why am I doing that?
Right. Stop being
And then I thought immediately after I said, I gotta talk to Chris about this.
Yeah. That's like high fidelity kind of stuff. That's something that they would make fun of. So don't be like that.
Don't be like that.
But I can't remember the last time I bought like a band T-shirt. Like I don't wear, like if I go to concerts.
What about that Minutemen
dress like
shirt
this.
you were wearing the other day?
Oh, that's true. But Minutemen, I mean, they're not going to play any more shows. I mean, that guy passed away. So
yeah. But I mean, was that a new shirt?
Yeah. That's true. I forgot about that. That's the first. I can't think of and that was only because my friend Nick, who is the assistant manager of Armadillo Music, 207 F Street in downtown Davis, he like tagged me in somebody else. There's this guy who sells shirts, and then as everyone does, he has an Instagram account where he kind of advertises, and he posts whenever he makes new shirts. And so Nick knows that I like Minutemen, and so he kind of like tagged me so that I would see it. Like, because this guy, like, he makes the shirts. Like, he screen prints them. Like, they're not like they're not like crappy Redbubble shirts.
Okay. So that makes total sense then.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a much higher quality.
Well, even the shirt itself, like I put the shirt on, I'm like, oh my god, this shirt's amazing. Like it's thick, like a Hanes beefy tee.
See, I'm not
really
a big Hanes beefy tee fan. Like the heavy shirts, I'm just like, ooh.
Oh, see, I like this one's a little bit heavy. I mean, maybe not. So
I was kind of
happy because like I think this will be more of like a fall shirt. Like it's too hot for like a hot summer day. It's fine for like a cooler summer day, but that's a shirt that I can wear also later.
Yeah,
but I also
too
just
hot
thought
to handle, too cold to hold.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good song, by the way. In my opinion. But I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. Speaking of Minutemen, I love talking about all the stupid ways in which I waste money.
Yeah.
And
this is on my list for today, by the way.
Oh, really? Oh, because of...
Well, I mean, just because I was thinking
because of Jack Nicklaus, right? Which I have right here. Not even... I'm not showing this for your benefit. It's for their benefit. Just if you'd like to see, everybody at home, what a classy copy of Jack Nicklaus for Turbo CD. Oh, look at that back art.
I was dying when you sent me that picture.
Thrown it in the garbage. Like, this game doesn't even have its rear artwork. What am I going to do with that?
It's funny because there's like literally nothing on it.
Yeah, it's nothing. It just says
like you could print
CD
off your own.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Maybe anyway. I will.
So I wanted to get Minutemen's seminal album, Double Nickels on the Dime. I really wanted to have it on vinyl, but it had been out of print for a while. And this was like last year or something. I saw on Instagram some record store over in Santa Rosa, which is like a 90-minute drive from here, posted that they had a copy for sale, and it was $100. So of course I drove over there and bought it. And now a year later, the record label has them on sale again on their website. It's like $28.
You gonna do it?
No, because I have one now. What do I need another one for?
Now you do.
If I had just waited a year, I could have gotten a copy for $28.
Yeah.
Damn it. I don't care.
But you say spending money on stupid things, like how I spent money on a second Atomos.
How is that stupid? You got a good deal, and you'll use it.
I did. Yeah, I can find a use for it. I'm sure I can take that one with me if I go someplace.
Yeah, there you go.
Because I bought this. So the Atomos Ninja, like, I don't know how much it sells for, like that version. I mean, it's the first version of it. It's not the 5 or the V plus. Or
I mean,
just
I
today,
typed it in when you showed
Ultra.
me that picture. I typed it in, and it's $400.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was, but it was like basically completely like in the box.
Yeah.
And had everything with it, right?
Yeah.
And I got one of these, a couple of years back.
Yeah.
Just because they're good portable recorders and gives you like a second, like a ProRes lossless recording.
Yeah.
Of stuff.
Yeah.
It uses like SSDs, and you can just like record to them, pop them out.
Yeah.
But they are like, they're expensive, but
and they don't get along with the Mister.
Yeah, that's the only downfall. I could
pretty
probably
big
figure out a way to
downfall
make
for me.
Yes. But I could probably get that to work, and I like the idea of being able to do that. Like if I wanted to like bring the Mister up to the bedroom.
But like, you don't think if you go into the Mister, isn't there a way in the Mister settings to like lock it in? If you lock it into 60 frames per second, it still wouldn't work.
I mean, I don't know if there's a way to make it work. I could try a bunch more, but I feel like I have a setting that is locked into that, just like as a compatibility thing.
Yeah.
And it still doesn't work.
All right.
But I could probably figure out a way to make it work. I just got to dedicate some time to it. But at the pawn shop I go to, the one where where there's wiggle room on everything.
Yeah. Everything.
On everything. I go in there and I see it. I'm like, oh, it's kind of random that you have this. And she's like, you want to buy it? I'll sell it to you.
Well, it's her job.
So, yeah. But I'm just like, well, I mean, what would you do? And she's like, oh, let me look it up.
So first of all, how much did they have it priced for?
$399.
So they wanted full-blown retail, brand new price for a used Atomos
I know.
Ninja.
I think the 400 is like, I don't think it's brand new 400 right now.
That's what I...
But maybe it is.
All right.
But she's like, oh, like she like looks and sees what she has on it.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I can do $250.
Yeah.
And immediately I send you like a photo because
Yes.
you were talking about it at one point.
Yes.
And this all happened because I was like by this place waiting for my dog to get groomed.
Yeah.
Like she's just getting groomed, and I'm like, I got to kill some time. I'll stop at Goodwill, stop at Quick Cash.
Yeah.
In Bellevue, Kentucky.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I sent you the photo. I sent one to try, see if he wanted it.
Yeah.
And I didn't hear back from anybody, and I got a text message saying like, dog's gonna be ready in 15 minutes. I'm like, like I want it, but I'm not sure. I'm just checking with some other people who might be interested in it.
Yeah.
And in the time that I took for me to like drive and pick up my dog, like I had decided already that I'm just gonna buy it for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Because it just seemed like such a good deal, and it was in the box and everything.
Yeah.
And like not that even matters really,
Yeah.
but it's just,
well, to me that's a sign that it was probably well taken care of.
Yes, exactly.
So it kind of does matter, I think.
Yeah. So I just was like, okay, like I don't need it, but I could probably justify it.
Yeah.
In one way or another. It's been kind of like a little bit of a pain in the butt because there's like a number, like a serial number you got to register to like add features to it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Once it gets activated, the person who owns it like has to deactivate it.
Oh no.
But I was able to contact Atomos by email And they said, okay, like after I sent them some screenshots of like my receipt, and like the number on it, and like all these different things about it, I'm like, okay, like we'll remove them from the account so that you can add it onto your account. Like,
just out of curiosity, like what features were you trying to?
Well, there's like an H.265.
But that's like $100, isn't it?
It is $100. What I'm curious is, like, so I bought that for my other one, and I'm wondering if it activates it on both.
Yeah.
On the account, or if you have to get it per device.
Yeah.
Which chances of me like actually getting that for this
why don't you just record in ProRes like a proper gentleman?
I mean, I do usually, but it's just it gets required. I haven't sprung for like another SSD yet.
Yeah.
But I once I get something like that, I'm like, ooh, what kind of accessories should I get for it? Especially if this is something, like this is a version that I'm going to take with me. Yeah. So I ended up getting like this small rig bumper. It's like a rubber bumper that goes around it so that if it like drops or something like that, it won't break, and like a screen protector and stuff like that.
Nice.
And I got it. So usually the SSDs that go in the back, if you just like slide one of them in, it kind of like flops around a little bit.
Yeah.
But it comes with like a caddy that is like you put the SSD in that like makes it the correct size.
Yeah.
But I found online that this company makes this thing that just like slides in the slot and like has little risers in it so that you can just like slam like bare SSDs in there without it being a thing.
Yeah.
It makes it a lot more portable that way.
Sure.
Than having to always use that same SSD. Sorry to bore you with that stuff, but
I mean, I don't share your excitement, but I'm happy for you that you're excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're Mr. B-roll, so
when I actually do it.
Yeah. Although I got I don't want to say on the show. I got the best idea today. That's going to involve some B-roll that I'm very excited about, but I'm not going to talk about it on the show.
Are you going to shoot the B-roll, or do you need me to shoot it for you?
No, it's not possible for you to shoot this B-roll unless you want to come here. Actually, that'd be helpful. Do you mind coming over here? Bring a tripod, please, and your camera. Thank you.
All right. Why don't you can buy me the tickets. I'll do it.
You should come out here, though. We could go hiking.
Yeah.
We could eat tacos.
Yes.
Be pretty cool.
Maybe breakfast burritos.
Well, we're not doing that.
$7 breakfast burritos that are so bad you might just throw it away.
Yeah, we're not doing that. But there's a gas station near my house where these people come out and make tacos every weekend in the parking lot. Mm-hmm. And they're like the best tacos I've ever had, not in Mexico.
Dang.
Yeah, and my wife agreed, and she's Mexican, so don't take my word for it, but she says it. That's from God's mouth to your ear. That's backwards.
Do you want to do some slap or yeet?
Yes, I have your list ready. Actually,
all right.
I don't know why you need your glasses for that, but all right.
I don't need a glass. I just wanted to do it. Here's my question for you. You've got to keep one and yeet two. Pick one that slaps, and the other two get dropped. That's my question for you. All right. I wish I had a breaking glass at the end of that one too.
I mean, we could insert it, but I feel like I'd want to ask Shane first because that's like his art.
Yes.
So I don't think I should be amending it without discussing it with its creator.
Yeah.
All right. Are you ready?
I'm
ready.
Going
to write this down? Wow. All right. We have a theme here, obviously.
Okay.
All right. Number 1, does it slap or should we eat it? Number 1, Crash Bandicoot.
Okay.
Are you writing? You're not even writing. You don't need to write this, really. You're the one that got all, cocked and loaded over there with the. All right. Number 2, Shantae.
Okay.
All right. Number 3, Kirby.
That's.
So I mean, obviously the theme there is third party mascot characters.
Yeah, yeah.
So when I say Crash Bandicoot, I'm not talking about the original game, but I'm talking about the character.
Yeah. Just like the entire, like all of the games, essentially, the entire series.
Yes.
So I'm gonna yeet for sure. I'm gonna yeet Crash.
Okay. I kind of assumed.
In private, I call him Crash Bandicoot.
Wow,
that's like what I like to call him.
Wow,
like just
staying classy here. Here's my question for you.
When it comes to Shantae and Kirby, both very good.
Yeah. See, I kind of felt like you were going to get rid of Crash, but I'm like, well, I can't, because I could have put in like Wonder Boy, but then you're gonna keep him for sure. You know.
Yeah. Wonder Bro.
Right.
Gosh, I mean, between Kirby and Shantae is tough.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick one, I'd probably to keep. I would keep Kirby.
Yeah.
Just because I played more Kirby games all the way through.
Yeah.
And something like Kirby's Return to Dreamland is excellent.
Yeah.
Even just like when Kirby went 3D with in the Forgotten World is very, very good. If you had a chance to play Kirby in the Forgotten World, it seems like something you might like.
Yeah. Which system is that? Oh, I think I have that then.
It's a 3D one.
I think I just haven't played it.
Oh yeah?
Maybe. I don't know, I gotta go double check. I have a Kirby game for the Switch that I bought physically.
Was it in the last year and a half?
Maybe.
Okay, as long as it's not Star Allies is not very good, which was like the first Switch game.
Yeah, I don't think it's that.
But Return to Dreamland Deluxe is like a remake of the Wii game.
I'll have to go check. I don't know what I have.
That's a tough one though. I mean, Shantae is very good, but I've only fully played through 2 games. Although I do own versions of all of them.
Of course you do, yeah.
But I would have to say I'm gonna go with the curvature. Hang on.
Yeah.
You can't really see it. It's all over there. But I have Cold Stone had these Nintendo themed Sundays.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you would get they were based on different games. And I went in there and I didn't think the Kirby Sunday sounded very good, but the Mario Party one sounded really good.
Yeah.
It had cake in it and stuff.
All right.
It was good, but I was like, so can I get the Mario Party Sunday in a Kirby cup?
Yeah.
I thought it was maybe a risky ask.
Yeah.
Because I thought that you maybe could only get the Sunday that you wanted in that specific game's cup.
Sure.
But they're like, oh yeah, we can do it.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any? Do you have any mini baseball helmets? From getting a Sunday in the.
Yeah. We have a Reds one.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have a couple of those. I should make my cat wear one of those. She needs to wear a helmet anyway, to be honest, the way she is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess just last thing I was going to say, especially since we're talking about Kirby games, I suppose. Mm-hmm. Although I don't know, wasn't there a Kirby game on the GameCube? There was, right?
There's Kirby's Air Ride.
Yes, right.
Anyway,
we talked about last week that I had that GC loader coming, so I got that. I got that installed. Pretty awesome.
Yeah. So is this your first time really? I mean, I guess exploring the GameCube library very deeply.
I mean, I had a GameCube when it was current, but I mean, I didn't.
You should play Rogue Squadron 2 if you've never played it, or if you haven't played it in a long time.
No, I haven't played it, and that was one of the games. I think that's part of the reason that I was like, I got to get a GC loader. Is that even a copy of Rogue Squadron 2 is money?
Oh, is it really?
Everything is on the GameCube, and I think part of the reason for that. This is my theory, my current theory, is that, is because the GameCube was really aimed more at kids.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, if you're someone like me who if I'm going to buy a game, I want it to be in nice condition, I want it to have the rear artwork. Mm-hmm. And so it's I'm looking for I want an adult owned copy of a game. And so it's not only do I want the game physically, I want the game complete. I want it in nice condition. And I think with the GameCube, a lot of those games are in rough shape because they were owned by, 12-year-olds.
Yeah. And just the, the discs themselves lend themselves to being chucked around.
I mean, if you really, I think if you look at like the condition of the average GameCube game on eBay, it really makes a strong case for Nintendo doing the right thing with the N64. Sticking with cartridges. But anyway, my point is just I got this GameCube last year and I started buying a few games for it and I was like, it's too much money, because what really pushed me over the edge was F-Zero GX.
Yeah. Oh,
because that game's like
so expensive.
Yeah, because I really wanted that game. And it's like $100. I'm like, I'm not spending $100 on an F-Zero game. I'm just not doing it.
Yeah.
And that's, $105 is what that GC loader cost.
Yeah, so that's so
no
worth
brainer.
it. Yeah.
But yeah, I got that, and then I got the little 3D printed thingy from Laser Bear. Put it all together. There were a few hiccups, I guess, with the new GC loader, but they already released a new firmware that solved that part. It's got some weird thing. It's not compatible with a lot of SanDisk cards, so a lot of people are upset about that. Because
really?
I guess that's not something that can be fixed with firmware. That has to be physically fixed.
Is that just in the Hardware 2 version?
Yeah.
I have the first hardware version, but it's
only the 2. But I had already bought a Samsung card for that before it even, so I don't care. It doesn't work with a SanDisk. Some people are upset, which I don't really understand. Cause
that's interesting because
SD
usually
cards
it's the
are
reverse.
so cheap,
It's usually the opposite way.
Yeah,
like there's something about the Samsung ones where it's like it's harder for computers different systems to read.
It's weird. I've mostly switched to Samsung cards for ODEs. Like I still have SanDisk cards in everything else, but when I got the X Station, I got I did some reading and read some things that made me think I shouldn't get a SanDisk card, so I got a Samsung instead, and it's been a champ. And then I've got a Samsung card in the Saturn and in the GameCube. Speaking of the Saturn, tomorrow the Fenrir is coming. Yeah. Fenrir Duo.
Did you? I mean, you didn't get that from Castlemania because Castlemania is no longer Castlemania. Did you get it from?
I got it from Stone Age Gamer. But what do you mean Castlemania is no longer Castlemania?
Oh, they are switching over to like they're just going Rondo products or something like that, which is just like all stuff sourced from the community.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's like the I don't know the exact reason for the change.
I don't understand. Are you saying he's just changing the name of the store?
Well, he's not carrying the same things anymore. It's going to be more focused on like community built stuff.
But is that not what the Fenrir is?
No, it is. It is. I think it's. I don't know. Like maybe the friend. I think that Stone Age Gamer is taking over sales, and he's like sent all the stock of like stuff like the X Station and the Fenrir to them to Stone Age Gamer to handle that.
Whatever. But I got the reason I got the Fenrir coming is that's good because right now I have a mode in the Saturn.
Yeah. And
so I'm taking the mode out, putting the Fenrir in because then I can take the mode because now I got another order coming from Laser Bear because I'm going to put that mode in my Dreamcast and then I can get rid of my Dreamcast games.
There you go.
So exciting.
I'm excited to see. Like, have you started selling these yet? Or?
No, because I just think I want to kind of get it all, mostly together, and then because once I start selling stuff, that's going to take up a bunch of time, and I just want to have.
Can't wait to like get my eyes on those.
I kept I think 3 Saturn games. I kept 1 GameCube. I don't want to get rid of shooters because I like collecting shooters. Like I have Ikaruga for the GameCube. I'm keeping that. I had, for the Saturn, I got a U.S. copy of Darius Gate, and I'm keeping that. I have a Japanese copy of Layer Section that I'm keeping. And then for no good reason whatsoever, I have the Outrun for Saturn, Japanese Saturn.
Oh, you got to keep that.
Yeah, I want to hang on to that.
Yeah.
But
and it's got like that 60 FPS mode on it, too.
Yeah. But I'm not going to have a way to play those games physically, so...
That's okay.
I'm just keeping them because I just.
But you'll put them on
those
your
games and I want to keep them.
Like on my ODEs, I usually have a separate folder where I just like have the games that I physically own.
Yeah.
In there. Like when I sort everything, I have like a folder called like collection. Where it like just has the games that I physically own. So I just know.
Yeah. Well, no,
although I've stopped upkeeping that a lot. Because
I'm just making the point that it's silly for me to keep those games because like I'm going to get rid of my other Saturn, so I'm not going to have a way to play Saturn games. But
I mean, you'll keep keep these disc drives like in a bin or something like that in storage or something, probably, right?
No, I already gave away the DVD drive I took out of the GameCube.
Oh,
I gave it to Fenris Wolf Retro.
Oh, okay.
Because I saw him yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Because I picked up my PC Engine from him. I feel bad. So I got my PC Engine. I told you he put that Turbo Nanza in my PC Engine.
Yeah.
And then I got home and like it was making.
You're having the sound issue.
Yeah. And so I just said, hey, do you mind just taking a look at this? Maybe there's like it sounds like interference. It sounded like you could hear the CPU bus, you know?
Yeah.
And the thing is, I was already driving over there for other reasons. And so it's like, well, I'm just going to bring it with me and give it back to him. Mm-hmm. So I didn't have a lot of time to play with it. I just kind of gave it back to him. And then he got it back, and then he did some research, but then he also has a white PC Engine. And so he confirmed that his also makes that noise. And apparently that's just a thing with the original white PC Engine.
Isn't that wild?
Because it was like something that got fixed with like the core graphics. So then I don't care. If that's the way it's supposed to sound, no problem, you know?
Yeah.
But anyway, so I went back yesterday. I picked my PC Engine back up from him, but then I dropped off 3 more consoles. And I asked him, I'm like, hey, you want this DVD drive? You know, like, cause you know, spare parts or whatever. And so he took it.
Yeah. I have a big bin of like spare parts and stuff.
Yeah.
For him that I've been meaning to ship, but it's like kind of heavy.
Yeah. UPS, man.
Yeah. That's what's going to have to be. I mean, now that I have that scale and that printer.
Yeah.
That
You're just dying.
Printer.
Any excuse to use that printer, I think. You just love it.
I love that printer. But that's like something I had on my list because, you know, it's fine to print off these labels, you know, like these specific size labels, like the 4x6 or whatever they are, or like you know, they're 4x6, like they're
the shipping
just,
labels, whatever size they are.
But it is so hard. So I got some other labels that are different sizes. There's like one that's they're like 30 millimeter by 50 millimeter, like just put a address on there like that, like an address.
Yeah.
And you can put it on like an envelope.
Right.
And I spent like over an hour trying to get it to like work right, to print on those labels correctly.
Yeah.
Because there's just no like install, like, hey, you can install like all these labels for this specific printer, like these different sizes.
Yeah.
Because it's like these labels were made by a different company, but they're made for this kind of printer.
Right.
It was just like, it just got me thinking about how annoying, like, is there anything more annoying to set up on a computer than a printer? And like, what?
I mean, I don't like talking about this kind of thing. I mean, this is like talking about politics practically, but like I have Apple products and setting up a printer on a Mac could not be any easier.
Yeah.
Like we have a printer that's it's got Wi-Fi built in, right? So it's on our home network. I can just get my Mac and it will find it for you and be like, "Oh, is this the printer you want?" And I say, "Yeah," and it just does it. Windows,
I understand
nightmare.
that, and this does it too. But what I'm trying to say is, like, if you are trying to print something onto non-standard label sizes,
I don't know. I don't ever do that. So.
Then it just gets like it takes forever, and
I'm
I can't think of anything that's like just more
through you right now.
More frustrating to do that kind of stuff.
Why don't you just use the labels you're supposed to use? I don't understand. Like, why are you creating?
Well, because somebody ordered stickers,
misery?
and I just wanted to make a label with our return address. And I could go through and write it. If I had handwriting like yours,
I don't have that good of handwriting. But I'm saying, why don't you just use the same labels you use for everything else? That's what I don't understand. Like
because they're too big to fit on the envelopes that I want to put them on. I'm not going to put them in bubble. Like the labels that I have for everything else are for like bubble mailers.
Well, listen, I'm not talking to you anymore. Listen, if you buy a sticker from the Classic Gaming Quarterly shop, it comes with an address, or it comes with an envelope that I hand addressed. I don't do this, impersonal label printer crap that he does. See, people don't even need to ask me for an autographed
put a little
anything.
note inside,
I wrote
though.
your name and address on the envelope for you. What's better than that?
I know. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I do appreciate that. But I do like put a little note in there. I always say like thanks.
Yeah.
From Corey.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Someone mentioned that like during one of our live streams, saying like, oh, you know, I ordered a Blu-ray and I was excited to see that, you know, Corey like put a little note in there.
Yeah.
And Troy was like, wait, you do that? I'm like, yeah, I do that with every single one I send out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you should start doing that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I was saying I dropped off 3 more consoles.
Yes.
With Fenris Wolf Retro.
And they are what?
Well, that's what I was trying to tell you. So I got my N64. Okay, so here's, just back up a little bit real fast. I had sent my Turbo Duo to Voltar like this is old, 2 years ago or something, and he it was that the Doujin dance guy from Japan.
Yeah,
you know? Mm-hmm. So Voltar un-Doujin danced my Duo, right?
Yeah.
And when he sent it back to me, he makes the little RGB boards for the N64 and the Model 2 Super Nintendo. He just sent me those, and he sent me the IGR board for the NES RGB.
Right.
And those 3 little PCBs have literally been sitting on my desk ever since then. Like just loose, just on the desk.
And now you got them all done. Did you get them?
Well, I was just finally like, I'm going up there to see this guy, and I'm like, I'm just going to bring, because like my N64, like I RGB modded it like 14 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I what it has in it now, I told Fenris to save it for me. I want to hang it on the wall or something. Like I literally handmade the RGB amp that's in there. Like I went to the electronics store and bought all the components and like a little, through hole PCB, and made my own amp based on like a schematic that was floating around online. Because back then you couldn't buy this stuff just pre-made. And
I don't know, man. It sounds like you like the N64 quite a bit.
Well, no, but it's like I would rather have it properly done, and so like he's going to take out my mod, put that thing in. Same thing
I'm
with
saying for you to have done it the first time, like all yourself. Like I need to like RGB mod this N64.
Hey man, that N64 launch video is it's got like 3.5 million views or something.
Okay,
something
that's
like that.
Like
I gotta have
even our closest video.
I gotta have like a nice, I'm not gonna make a video like that and not have it in RGB, right? So what am I gonna do? Anyway, so he's installing all 3 of those things. That's all. That's awesome. To say. Although I think I'm just going to turn around and sell the Super Nintendo. But
is
like
that
right
your
now,
only
it's
Super
got
Nintendo.
No.
Okay, so you have another Super Nintendo.
I have like a full size Super. This is the little mini second. We can't call it the mini. I don't know what you call it now, but you know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. The little 1-chip guy.
The Junior.
Oh, okay, okay. It's a Super Nintendo Junior. No, I have a full-size Super Nintendo, and then, of course, I have a Super NT. Mm-hmm. But I would rather just keep the full-size Super Nintendo, especially now Voltar's made some crazy thing that cleans up the video and the 2-chip, so then I'll just do that, I guess.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
I am going to put that in a Super Famicom.
Nice.
That I got from Fenris Wolf Retro.
Wow.
He has a big presence in our Discord.
Yeah, he was a super nice guy. In fact, when I went and saw him to drop the PC Engine back off with him,
mm-hmm.
he had brought with him I guess he's just trying to be a good, customer service guy or whatever. He had a box and he's like, well, I can look at this for you, or if you want, I'll just take this PC Engine.
Mm-hmm.
And he had in the box, he had a Core Graphics 2.
Mm-hmm.
That was not modded, but it had not a spark plug, but I think maybe something that DB Elect guy makes. It's some kind of like add-on little board.
The graphics, or not the not the graphics booster. It was the was it
the DB booster?
The engine block, was it called?
I don't know, man. Whatever it is.
Stone Age Gamer made like a enclosure for it.
Okay, well, it was that. And he's like, if you want, you can just take this with you now, and I'll just keep the, I thought it was nice of him to give me the option.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like, I already have a Core Graphics. the whole reason to have that other one is that I have an original white PC Engine, mostly for B-roll and stuff, but,
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't take him up on that offer, but it was nice of him to extend it. He's a good guy.
Very, very thoughtful.
Yeah. That's it. That's all I got. I'm out.
Well, I have a bunch more, but I can save a lot of this stuff.
Well, it's an hour and 50 minutes, so.
Exactly. So I can save some of this stuff.
Yeah.
That's good. It's all stuff that's evergreen anyways.
Oh, good.
Not winter green, but evergreen.
Yeah. How come that's not a gum flavor? Wouldn't that make sense? Like extra, right? Because the flavor lasts extra long. They should have a flavor called evergreen.
They should, or if that does not exist in any way, then somebody should make some gum that never loses its flavor.
I'm just so tired of like having to do other people's thinking for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, why am I having to come up with... There's like food chemists out there and like marketing people. That's your job. You're getting paid. That's your job.
And you're just sitting...
We're
just a couple of guys in our basement.
Yeah. I'm just some knucklehead
not wearing
who gets
any
paid
pants.
to talk about video games and pretend I'm a scientist. That's my job. You do your job. Evergreen gum. Get it done.
Yeah. Get it done. Do it now.
Yeah.
Or face the consequences.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
well,
it.
Thanks everybody for listening.
Yeah.
And
Episode what?
Episode 40.
Wow. That's kind of
episode 40, 40 ounce. Go drink a 40 ounce after.
Pour some out.
Let's pour out a 40 ounce.
Pour some out for your
40.
homies. Yeah.
We'll see you next week, or hear you next week, or
well, I won't hear them. Well, they'll hear us though. We hope.
Yes,
we hope.
Hear us next week.
Yes.
Bye-bye.